Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome this morning to class with Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 24 through 26. And I will be hosting and also giving the class, so I'll just start right now with Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Devadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Devadadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Devadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Nitai Gora Chanda Nitai Gora Chanda Gora Hari Jaya Jagana Jaya Jagana Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo, Nitai Gora, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivajika Stotra Sata Shishimada's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivajika Stotra Sata Shishimada Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga voice of Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Kiri Swami Nityanamani Namaste Krishna Paraya Prabhupada Tatmani Sri Gaur Karani Shakti Bhakti Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 24. Mata more putra bhabe karina banana. Ati Ati na jnane kare dalana palana. Mata more putra bhabe karina bandana. Ati na jnane kare lalana palana. Mata more putra bhave karina banana. Ati na jnane kare lalana palana. Hare Krishna. Please chant if you want it.
Mata more putra bhave kare na bandhana. Atihina jnane kare lalana palana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Mata
Krishna.
more putra bhave kare na bandhana. Atihina jnane kare lalana palana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right. So we'll do the word for word. Mata, mother. More, me. Putra bhave, in the position of a son. Karina, thus. Bandhana, binding. Atihina gane, in thinking, very poor. Kare, thus. Lalana, nourishing. Palana, protecting. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. Text 25. Sakashuda Saki Kare Skande Aruhana Tumi Kon Pandaluka Tumi Amisama. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." Text 26. Priyamadi Manakari Karaye Vatsana Vedastuti Haite Harise Moramana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. If my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the Upanishads, all living entities are dependent on the supreme living entity, the personality of Godhead. As it is said in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitanam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. One eternal living entity supports all the other eternal living entities. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains the other living entities, they remain subordinate to the Lord, even when joined with Him in the reciprocation of loving affairs. But in the course of exchanging transcendental love of the highest purity, sometimes the subordinate devotee tries to predominate over the predominator. One who lovingly engages with the Supreme Lord as if he were his mother or father sometimes supersedes the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, his fiancée or lover sometimes supersedes the position of the Lord, but such attempts are exhibitions of the highest love. Only out of pure love does the subordinate lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead chide him. The Lord, enjoying this chiding, takes it very nicely. The exhibition of natural love makes such activities very enjoyable. In worship of the Supreme Lord with veneration, there is no manifestation of such natural love because the devotee considers the Lord his superior. Regulative principles in devotional service are meant for those who have not invoked their natural love of Godhead. When natural love arises, all regulative methods are surpassed, and pure love is exhibited between the Lord and the devotee. Although on such platform of love, the devotee sometimes appears to predominate over the Lord or transgress regulative principles, such dealings are far more advanced than ordinary dealings through regulative principles with awe and veneration. A devotee who is actually free from all designations due to complete attachment in love for the Supreme exhibits spontaneous love for Godhead, which is always superior to the devotion of regulative principles. The informal language used between lover and beloved is indicative of pure affection. When devotees worship their beloved as their most venerable object, spontaneous loving sentiments are observed to be lacking. A neophyte devotee follows the Vedic instructions that regulate those who lack pure love of Godhead may superficially seem more exalted than a devotee in the spontaneous love of Godhead. But in fact, such spontaneous pure love is far superior to regulated devotional service. Such pure love of Godhead is always glorious in all respects, more so than reverential devotional service rendered by a less affectionate devotee. Oma Gyanatimirandasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshu Umilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavam Scha Shri Rupa Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Pitam Tam Sijivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Paramami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschatya Shatarni Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurati Namaha Ananda Lidamaya Vigrahaya Himabi Libachava Sundaraya Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. So, in this section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is describing his relationship with, or relationship in different situations. In this particular text, he talks about his mother, meaning Mother Yashoda. Sometimes he says, my mother binds me as her son, and she nourishes me and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. On the face of it, it seems to be that Krishna is talking about the mother, his mother, playing the role of a son who knows that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he also knows that his mother is not looking at him like that. And because his mother is not looking at him like that, then his mother is trying very hard in all situations to take care of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hmm? But she doesn't look at him as Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's a lesson to learn from this. It seems to be a simple statement that Krishna has made. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. This is the attitude that a devotee should have for the deity. The deity is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But we have to serve the deity like the deity is totally helpless, and that if we don't do our service, then the deity is going to have difficulty. Krishna never has difficulty. Krishna is the supreme controller. But we thinking in this way will in fact be more careful to make sure that our duties are carried out in the best possible way. It would make us make sure that the duties are duties that we should never ever stop thinking of. It would make us plan our days for service, putting mentally the service as priority. Krishna in the deity form is a form of Krishna, that's Krishna himself, because Krishna is absolute. Even the Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is still Krishna. Krishna in sound form. So that is his properties. He can appear so many ways because he's absolute. We're not absolute, but he is. And so Krishna is telling us, mother sometimes binds me as her son, and she nourishes and protects me, thinking me totally helpless. We should think that way about the deities too, and serve them with such importance, with the thought that if we don't serve the deity, we're going to put the deity in trouble. If we don't feed the deity, we're going to put it in trouble. If we don't put the deity to sleep, we're going to be in trouble. So every time that service comes up, those people who are fortunate enough to be doing those service, actually everybody that's doing service is fortunate. The service is an absolute platform, so there is no distinction between doing service on the altar or even sweeping the temple room and the temple surroundings. All of that, mowing the lawn, all of that. The service that Krishna and Krishna's associates appreciate very much, because it helps to what? To increase our love. Right now, we are being, and it's in the purport, which we'll come to later in text 26. Right now, we are slowly learning how to get right. Get right means relate well to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're just learning how to. But in time, we will actually begin to experience love if you haven't started already. experiencing loving sentiments towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Yashoda is in the highest loving relationship as a mother. So she's nourishing, she's protecting, thinking that if she doesn't do it, Krishna will be helpless and will be in trouble. That's the deity, the attitude for us towards the deity. It should be like that. Hmm? So in text 25, Krishna says, now the relationship in the Sakyaras, friendship. And he has two types of friends. His cowherd boyfriends and the cowherd girlfriends. Hmm? Cowherd boyfriends in Sakyaras, cowherd girlfriends are in Madhurya Ras. But he's talking about the cowherd boys this time. He says, my friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship. And they say, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. Hmm? They say that out of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They see that he is definitely, from all of the pastimes that happen, from him destroying the demons that come one by one. Cowherd boys have seen all of that. They know that they themselves can't do it. Case in point, in the Taliban forest, when Kasura had taken over he and his friends, the donkey demon, and wouldn't allow anybody to take any of the fruits there in Taliban forest. When the cowherd boys suggested that Krishna and Balaram, we should go to the forest, you can just smell the aroma. It's just the aroma of the wonderful fruits that just fill the air. And we should go have some of that. We should, we're hungry. And Krishna, we know you are hungry. Balaram is hungry. Let's go there. But when they went to the border of Taliban forest, they were afraid. The cowherd boys were afraid to get in. Krishna stayed with them. Balaram went inside. And when he went inside, he started shaking the tree so that the ripe fruits would fall. Then Kasura heard about it and came. And when he saw Balaram, he decided he was going to fight Balaram. In fact, kill Balaram. And so donkeys, they're the greatest way, their most effective way that they inflict harm is to turn around and use their hind legs to kick, both legs to kick. And that's exactly what Kasura did. Kicked Balaram's chest, but Balaram did not move. And so the fighting began, and then Krishna joined in later on. Now, why do we say that? Of course, the cowherd boys have seen Krishna and Balaram destroy different demons. Now, in the fight, at some point, some of the cowherd boys also joined in. They hit Kasura, but Kasura didn't feel anything, the cowherd boys. The fighting part that really affected Kasura was the fighting between Krishna and Kasura and also Balaram and Kasura. So from that, we can tell that the cowherd boys already know that Krishna and Balaram have way more power than them. Still, because they have so much love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his plenary expansion, Krishna and Balaram, they still would say, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. In a playful way, they say that because of their pure friendship with the Lord. And they know the Lord would like that. He wants to come down to their level so that they can relate wonderfully. In text 26, Krishna is saying, if my beloved consort reproaches me, chides me, chastises me, because he is sulky, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. If my beloved consort complains about me because they are in a sulky mood for some of the things that I've done that they're not crazy about, they would want it in a different way. So he's putting it that way, that when that complaint comes, That steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. The reverent hymns of the Vedas means reverential or worship. The hymns say that we are who we are, and we are what? We are insignificant compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna doesn't want to hear that. He wants loving relationship in friendship, in parental relationship, and also in conjugal relationship. So then he says that if my beloved counselor reproaches me, sulky mood, and the sulky mood is one of the wonderful Krishna prema aspects. Google Maharaj describes it, and it's called mana. Mana in the sulky mood. So Radharani especially complains about Krishna more so than anyone else. Radharani spends more time with Krishna. She's always thinking about Krishna. She's the mother of devotion. Her life is just to serve Krishna. It's the main, never thinks anything else but how to relate to Krishna and how to serve Krishna. So mana is when the devotee of the Lord, who is in love with the Lord, is sulky because of something that Krishna has done. And in that, there was one situation where because of Kamsa, Krishna and Balaram, they left Vrindavan and they went to Mathura. And when they went to Mathura, at first the gopis were even trying to stop Akrura from taking them to Mathura. They even put their bodies on the road in front of, as you call it, the carriage, the horse-drawn cart, wonderful cart, chariot belonging to Kansa, very nicely decorated. Gave it to Akrura to go get them. Of course, Akrura's intention was to take them there, and Kansa's intention was to kill them. Now, Akrura knew that the eighth son of Devaki and Vasudeva would actually get rid or be the cause of Kansa's death. So he definitely wanted that to happen, so that Mathura would be free of all the atrocities of Kansa. Krishna protects his devotees. But Krishna relates to his mother and allows his mother to relate to him as if he is utterly helpless. So in this relationship between the gopis and Krishna and Balaram, they were so affected when Krishna left. Krishna promised that he would come back. Finally, Krishna left. And they all got into a very, very, very sulky mood, mana. And they were thinking about Krishna. They could not get their daily things, activities, or responsibilities done. They were like the walking dead. So down, all of them. There was a bumblebee at one time that came close to Radharani. Radharani saw the bumblebee, and he was black. The color reminded her of Krishna's color. And it was very difficult for her. He says, bumblebee, get away from me. You remind me of Krishna because of your color and making me hurt even more, missing him. Another time, she saw another bumblebee in one direction flying, and it was the direction was towards Mathura. So then she called out, deliver a message to Krishna. Deliver a message to Krishna in Mathura. What was the message? Well, Srila Govinda Maharaj asked a question at the time to the devotees when he was preaching about that. He says, when there's trouble in the house, what's the first thing to do? And the devotees were trying to answer. When there's trouble in the house, what is the first thing to do? Now, I won't ask you that question because Many, many, many good answers, I'm sure, will come from you, but that was not the answer that Maharaj was looking for. Because in our modern way of thinking, in our modern way of living, we don't think about those things. So Maharaj, practically everybody got it wrong. And Maharaj said, when there's trouble in the house, you let out the domestic animals first, because they are the most vulnerable. They don't think like human beings think. In other words, if you have horses, you have cows, and so on, and the house is on fire, you make sure that they are out in the fields so that the fire will not affect them. And he made that point to connect to the relationship of love between Radha and Krishna. So back to the story, Radha was telling this bumblebee, you're going in the right direction towards Mathura. Deliver a message to Krishna. When there is trouble in the house, the domestic animals are left out first. There is trouble in my heart. But you're not freeing me from this problem. Why? Because you have locked my heart. How did you lock my heart? You locked my heart by making me or promising me so that I would hope that you would come back soon. And so the lock on my heart is the hope. So it's like a situation when it happens when there's trouble, my heart is troubled, like the house is in trouble and the domestic animals are let out. That's what normally happens. But my heart is not being freed from this situation because you said you hope. You've given me that hope that you would come back. So I'm hoping to see you every single day and I don't see you. So tell Bumblebee, tell Krishna, this is how I'm feeling. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, all living entities, true enough, are dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That one living entity, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kama, Nitya Nityana, Chaitanya Chaitanya, from Katha Upanishad. The Supreme Lord is the one that maintains all other living entities. So, of course, because of that, they remain subordinate to the Lord. They remain subordinate to the Lord, that's forever, because he's the one entity that maintains everyone else, every other entity, in the spiritual world as well as the material world. It's more difficult to live in the material world. It's very easy to live in the spiritual world, but still the maintenance comes from that one source, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though he is the boss and the maintainer, in transcendental loving relationship, Krishna prefers equality, making the person think, person that's relating to him, think that they are at the same level, just like the cowherd boys that climb on Krishna's back were saying, what kind of big man are you? Yes, we've seen you annihilate demons, but you and I are equal because I can climb on your back and I can play with you and we play at the same level. Sometimes the cowherd boys will just play wrestle. They wrestle with Krishna in play, like that. And sometimes they would have some games involving tug of war. A group of cowherd boys would be Balaram would be one side, another group of cowherd boys with Krishna would be one side, and then they'll have a rope in between and they pull. Now, of course, Krishna and Balaram, they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they don't use their strength anywhere near that situation. And so they just pull, and sometimes Krishna's side would win, and sometimes Balaram's side would win. So it's all done in fun. And of course, in the winner will have to be carried by the loser. So the side that loses carries the others, like that, to a designated place. So you do all of this in fun. And that's how Krishna likes to relate. And this is just one of many, 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 many different types of relationships that Krishna has with the cowherd boys. So, in a parental relationship, like the relationship between Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and Krishna and Balaram, because they, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, look at themselves as parents, they know that they have to groom Krishna and Balaram nicely. And sometimes if it means that they have to chastise, then they chastise. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is supreme in all situations. No one is at his level, no one is greater than him. Still, in the relationship, he makes it so wonderful because of loving affairs that the devotee feels for the Lord. And the Lord reciprocates in that way. And sometimes because the devotee is playing the role of a parent, then he can just take and exercise authority over Krishna. The devotee in that situation considers the Lord to be his superior. And Srila Prabhupada explains that regulated principles in devotional service, they are meant for those who are not invoked. They're not at that situation. They have not invoked their natural love of Godhead. Where is the natural love of Godhead? It's in the soul. And our soul is in the heart area. So our heart has to be awakened to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead naturally. But because we've been gone from the way in which we naturally love the Lord and relate to the Lord, we've been gone from that. That was what was happening in the spiritual world. We've been gone for so many lifetimes. So now we've forgotten how to do it. The Lord has been with us all through those lifetimes, though, as a super soul. And now we're turning our attention, but we've forgotten how to express love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he uses the spiritual master to guide us. Spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, and he also guides from within to open our love back again, to just have us connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in loving relationship. So regulated principles are just the beginning. It tells you do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. And the guidance is given that way. And it's on us to obey the do's and the don'ts. And with that, and understanding it and doing it willingly, we develop a habit. And through that habit, we begin to, by the Lord's mercy, feel signs of love towards the deity, signs of love towards the spiritual master, signs of love towards the devotees. It all starts with the devotees, loving the devotees, being there to assist the devotees will help us to begin to understand what loving relationships are. And with that, we begin to love Guru. The best way to love Guru is obey his instructions. What Srila Prabhupada has said that we should do, we definitely should do in all situations. We had a wonderful program of Diwali yesterday. Some people missed it, and for their own reasons, I can't speak for everybody, but we know that Srila Prabhupada wants us to gather together when there are programs. So that's one thing that we have to bear in mind the whole time. We gather together in the temple. So we have to bear that in mind. In all of these activities, when they happen, it is for us to have a wonderful Sangha. And the place to have a wonderful Sangha, through that, in every situation, is in fact the place where we all meet and whose business is 100% Krishna's business. And that is the temple. So when we are, and this is, of course, we're talking about learning how to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a regulated way. So this is also part of some things we have, of course, we have vowed to do as initiated devotees. When you get initiated, there are vows to take, and it doesn't involve having to come to the temple necessarily, but it does involve it indirectly because it is the orders of the spiritual master. And so when Srila Prabhupada says, do it this way, we always have to. Of all the things, meeting in the temple especially is very, very important. So regulated principles in devotional service are meant for those who have not invoked the natural love of Godhead. But the great thing about it is that if we follow the regulated principles very, very seriously, the natural love of Godhead will be invoked. And Srila Prabhupada says when that happens, then all regulated methods are surpassed. And pure love then happens between the Lord and his devotee. Pure love. And that's where we have to get to. Because those in the spiritual world are relating to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in pure love. And so when we get to that, then we will actually feel happy ourselves because we will see that the Lord is relating to us. So the regulated principles, according to the regulated principles, at this point, we cannot worship Radha Krishna to the deepest level. It's meant, Radha Krishna worship is actually meant for those who have developed spontaneous love of Godhead. So that's where we're trying to get to. Just like when Krishna and Balaram sent the cowherd boys in one situation, in one of the pastimes, to Brahmanas who were doing rituals to tell them that Krishna and Balaram are not far away from them and that they were hungry and they wanted some of the what they were offering in the rituals. The Brahmanas were so connected to it, they forgot that they were dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that message that was sent to them. They did not respond to the request of the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys returned to Krishna Balaram, and Krishna Balaram made a joke of it, just so the cowherd boys won't feel too bad. But then they turned around and said, go to the wives of these Brahmanas. The wives of the Brahmanas were in spontaneous love with Krishna. So when they heard the same requests from the cowherd boys, what did they do? They immediately left that place of sacrifice, went and got all kinds of eatables, and then they went to see the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead and Balaram. And that should be our attitude. Whatever we want to do, we have to first think, will this help my devotional service to the Lord? Directly or indirectly, will this help my devotional service? If it will, then do it. This is Rupa Goswami's instruction. If it will not, then we should not do it. And if there's something that we're very much attached to doing and it's a material thing, then it's on us to pray for the intelligence to be able to turn those things and use them to serve the Lord, so that when we're doing it, then we remember the Lord. And there's specific do's and don'ts, especially don'ts, for devotees. And if what we are really attached to does in fact violate one of the principles, things that we shouldn't be doing, then that thing has to go. And if we're addicted to it, we need all the help, prayers, and also getting some sort of counseling to get away from it. It's our opportunity to develop love and go back to Godhead. We should not play with it. We should not play with it. Guru is encouraging us, and we should take this whole process seriously. Very few people in this material world, let's just talk about this planet because this is one we know, 7.5 billion people. The overwhelming majority, over 99% of them, are not connected with devotional service. So we are actually special in that sense because we on our own have turned our minds to Krishna. And so we got to take this process very, 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 very seriously. Don't let, because Maya is always waiting with some suggestions here and there to pull us away from what we do. We've been doing, and then, oh, this has happened, and then Maya says, but. There should be no but in the situation for a devotee. So we're saying this for our own purification. In other words, myself involved, and anyone that also sees this, we have to always be on top of our, in the American terms, on top of our game. Very, very careful, and connected and determined. It's all mental to serve the Lord properly. If we let down, Maya will come in. And so there is Govardhan Puja today, and I'll spend only a couple of minutes talking about this pastime. It's a wonderful pastime where Krishna was questioning Nanda Maharaj because they were going to do this wonderful plans to satisfy Indra. And the whole program was put together, but then Krishna was saying, why are we doing this program? Nanda Maharaj explained that when we do this puja to Indra, then he gives us rains, and the rains, the one gets the vegetables and the grass growing so nicely. We pick the vegetables, the cows get the grass, and we are able to go on nicely that way. But Krishna, wanting to put the pride of Indra down, so that Indra would realize that he's not the boss that he thinks he is. He may be the king of heaven, but everybody is subservient to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he helped Nanda Maharaj with counter arguments. And finally, Nanda Maharaj, out of so much love for Krishna, agreed. And the cowherd men also agreed. And so they said, what should we do? Krishna planned the entire thing of how to serve Govardhan Hill instead of Indra. And the cowherd men and Nanda Maharaj, cowherd women, everybody in Vrindavan followed this. They went and have a wonderful program with Govardhan Hill. Krishna exhibited some wonderful activities. He became Govardhan Hill. He took the offerings, the food offerings. Everybody was so happy, and he was giving instructions. And everybody followed it. Young Krishna. But Indra got upset, and he decided that he would send his thunderbolts and rain and punish Krishna's wonderful extended family of devotees in Vrindavan. And he brought down the rains, and they were all fearful for their lives, so they called on Krishna, and Krishna went and lifted Govardhan Hill and asked them to come underneath the Govardhan Hill with all their possessions. Every entity got underneath it, and for 7 days, Krishna held the Govardhan Hill with the smallest finger, the last finger of his left hand. For 7 days, they had darshan of the beautiful Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Indra was pouring down the rain like anything, and the thunderbolts were hitting Govardhan Hill. But Govardhan Hill was not feeling any pain from it because of Krishna's hand, this little finger underneath him. The place was flooding. But Krishna, without the inhabitants of Vrindavan knowing, he invited Anantasej to come. And Anantasej came and from a distance blocked all around the flooding level that could have gotten under Govardhan Hill and disturbed the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So Anantasej formed a wall, and then the Sudarshan Chakra began also in a different place and close to where they were. They didn't know. We say different place because those who were under Govardhan Hill did not know what was happening. They didn't know Anantasej was there. They didn't know Sudarshan Chakra was there. But both were working. Sudarshan Chakra was drying up the water. So after a while, the water was all dry. Indra sent as much rain, but Sudarshan Chakra was drying the water up faster than Indra could pour it. So in the end, he gave up. And finally, there was apology on the part of Indra towards Krishna. It's also another pastime there, how it all happened. So today is Govardhan Hill. So celebrate it, go to your nearest temple and join with the devotees and celebrate it wonderfully. Krishna likes that we relate to him in love. And so slowly from these wonderful activities where we are reminded about Krishna's pastimes, we will in fact begin slowly to develop loving relationships, not just regulated principle type of relationship, but loving relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for hearing and allowing me to serve you. Now we can unmute and make comments, talk about takeaways, ask questions as we like. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, August Ashur Prabhupada. Thank you
Lord
for
Shri
the
Prabhupada.
very nice class. And it's really nice how the third purport that you read, verse 26, where Shri Prabhupada's purport, he explains how we should go from the level of regulative principles in devotional service to natural love. And I really liked how Shri Prabhupada used the word natural love. And my question is, how can we develop the natural love from regulative principles in devotional service, and how can we avoid not misusing the natural love in a wrong way?
First of all, we are in the right direction. We're going in the right direction when we obey the rules and regulations, the do's and the don'ts, because that is the root of the development of love at the very end. We have to obey those rules, make sure we don't break those rules. And from that, we will develop a habit of doing it. Now, the other thing that can happen is we are all at different levels of growth of love of Godhead. When you realize that there is another devotee and the way they serve is wonderful and it gets to your heart, make sure you become a friend of that person. Because when you talk about, that's the first, make sure you become a friend of that person. And second, bring up service and service attitude in your conversation with that person. Because it's that type of conversation that would lead the person to open up their feelings towards service to you. And then you can learn from the things. And you can ask even direct questions. Prabhu, I see you chanting so nicely and you chant so much with your heart. How do you do it? Just come right out and ask. Sometimes we can do some things by imitation too, but we can't imitate everything. And so sometimes when you connect, or when we connect with those who have been at it for a while, and you see the attitudes and you ask them questions, you can learn from those answers that you get and then improve the quality of your service. And the love will be developed because it's already there. It's not like the love will be planted. It's in everybody's heart. It's just a question of awakening it. That's why Srila Prabhupada made the point. He says, these hippies who have now come to me, did I push them to come? No. Why have they stayed? The love, they have heard things that have awakened their love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that love is already there. It's just a question of awakening it. And we can, in fact, learn from practice and also from hearing constantly. Because when you hear, so many things will guide you towards what you need to do. And then when you do it and do it to the best of your ability, the love will begin to fructify. And then you'll see how happy we'll be. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
So any other comments, please unmute the microphone, mic side, and please make comments as you like. Hare Krishna. Or if you like to talk about Govardhan Puja also, which is the highlight of today, you can do that too. It's all up to you.
Or you can put it in the chat too. And
Yes, the chat, absolutely, if you want.
I really like this point, where Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord enjoys this chiding. Prabhupada was talking to Purport, how the Lord, it very nicely, Srila Prabhupada says that when one lovingly engages with the Lord as if it was his mother or father, their position supersedes the position of the Supreme Lord. So I thought that was really, really, really powerful. And also where Srila Prabhupada says that the Lord enjoys this chiding and takes it very nicely. And that is the exhibition of natural love, which makes the activities very enjoyable. And that's why I was asking my question, yes, the Lord does enjoy the chiding. We definitely understand that from what Srila Prabhupada says. But how can we not, avoid thinking, okay, that I can do it in a very superficial sahaja mentality and like not take it very loosely. So that's why I asked the question, because this was a very powerful statement that Srila Prabhupada made here.
Yes, it is. And we can't fake it because the Lord is in our hearts as Paramatma. We cannot fake it. When the loving sentiments are developing, yes, that will be there. And it's a Krishna Prema level that these sentiments do come out sometimes with the Lord's devotee is actually chiding or chastising or complaining about something that they think that Krishna should have done one way and they didn't do it that way. And as a parent looking at a young boy, that they have to guide him. But that is the relationship that Krishna likes. So when he gets chided or complained about to him, he actually loves it because, oh, he's playing such a wonderful parental role. I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How else can I get this type of relationship unless there is intense love? And Krishna knows that there is intense love from Mother Yashoda for him. So all of this that's being done is because of their loving feelings for Krishna. Because of loving feelings for Krishna. There are demons who also tried to chide the Supreme Personality of God. What happened to them? He killed them. But when devotees do it, he likes it because of the love that the devotees have for the Supreme Personality of God. And the demons are doing exactly the opposite. They don't like the Lord. They want to get rid of him. So that is the difference. Hare Krishna. Any other comments? All right. So if I can't hear anything, happy Govardhan Puja for everybody. And please come and be part of this pastime wherever you are. Your temple, closest temple, be there when the program starts. Be there and be part of the
Starts at
fun.
6 o'clock. So we request devotees to please be on time because it is also working week, school week, and we really want to respect everybody's time. But when we come late, then everything starts late and the Lord waits for devotees to come. So please make the extra effort. We speak about Damodar and the 2 inches, and we speak about the 2 inches being extra effort and mercy. So let's make the extra effort to be on time at 6 o'clock. And so that we can, end on time and respect everybody's time. And secondly, also tomorrow morning's class will be given by His Holiness Chandramali Swami at 7 a.m. So please do join us tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai. So, topmost, please have fun with devotees this evening. In Harrisburg, it starts at 6 o'clock. If you have to go somewhere else, then check with when they start there. And then most of you on here will probably be coming to the Harrisburg temple because that's the closest temple to you. Hare Krishna. Jai. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sundibhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Bless you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.